Welcome back, communicable diseases. Welcome back, diseases that we used to not have to really worry about too much.
Measles and mumps up 1 million. HPV up 1 million.
Polio up 1 million.
Let's go.
Once again, we are bringing them back. Florida specifically, as a state, Florida, Ron DeSantis and their Surgeon General have joined the fight against disease on the side of disease. On the side of disease and against kindergartners, man.
Yeah, no, literally.
Because
not even an exaggeration.
The Florida Surgeon General just came out, I believe today or yesterday, we're recording on Thursday, and made an announcement saying that Florida will end all vaccine mandates in the state. No more fucking, your kid has to get the measles and mumps vaccine to go to school so that other kids don't get measles and mumps, because he thinks that your parent should be able to make the choice.
Yeah, and I think people underestimate just how important those requirements were. Like, there will still be the informed parent that takes their kid to get vaccinated against this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But importantly, of course, vaccines work when we all engage in the practice. And I think a lot of parents only did it because they had to.
Yeah.
And now that requirement in Florida is I mean, it's a pro-death move. Like, there's no other way to put it.
And it's just crazy that we're doing this in a time where there's a current measles outbreak. Like, I'm pretty sure a kid in Texas died because of the measles, because of the active outbreak going on right now.
Yeah.
Because their measles vaccine rate's fallen a little bit.
I feel like once a month we get a news alert that says, hey, this rare disease is back. And
Yeah.
we found a way to end it, but it's back.
And it's like we get that alert and Republican politicians think, oh, yeah. Yeah, we should keep that around.
If you're looking for a motive here, thinking how could this be good for Republicans at all? Because this will hurt their voters disproportionately.
Yeah, just like COVID.
I was gonna say I think you should just take a look a couple of years ago and see what Republicans did to their own people. They consistently lied about the vaccine, lied about what you should do with masks. They were pushing back against lockdowns. A bunch of people died, in some cases disproportionately conservatives, and they didn't care because it's just a cultural victory for them, and it doesn't matter who lives or dies because of it.
They just want to win the political points. And it's like a death cult, man. I swear to God, dude. This guy, the Surgeon General of Florida, went on for his announcement and he said, quote, referring to the vaccine mandates, every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Brother.
Conservatives think that the only thing that can threaten freedom is the federal government.
Yeah.
And requirements from the federal government, without recognizing that there are some common interests that we share that threaten our freedom. We give up some of our tax dollars so that we can have roads to drive on. We give up our ability to poison the water supply so that we all can ideally have access to clean water. Public health is the same way. How free are you if you're dead?
Exactly.
Because of a preventable disease.
Exactly. How free are you if you contract, measles or fucking polio whenever that comes back because nobody wants to get vaccines anymore, and then you die and can't do anything?
Living in society together requires that we give up some of our freedoms so that we might have access to greater freedoms down the road.
Yes.
And when we're talking about things that bind us together in the common interest, what's good for the individual is what's good for the collective and vice versa when we're talking about shit like public health.
And it's especially when we're having conversations around vaccines too. So much of this is not only predicated on when you participate in society, you have to do things that are good for society for the benefit of you and everyone around you, but it's also just misinformation.
Yeah.
It's also just us listening to a small group of select people that are really loud and scream about parents' rights because they think that their kids are their slaves that they can do whatever they want with.
Yeah. And
you know what? Honestly, there are a lot of parents out there, and this shouldn't be controversial to say, that do not know what's best for their children because they're stupid. Straight up, man.
Yeah, you're not a doctor, man.
We have medical experts for a reason. We have people who have dedicated their lives to the study of these things. We have decades of evidence that show that these vaccines are safe and effective, and we have a couple parents in a couple places around the country that go around and read one case of something happening one time and think that their kid's going to get autism, the horror, because of a vaccine.
Yeah, and think about the calculation they're making. They're saying, I would rather let my kid die and maybe other kids die rather than them potentially have autism.
Which isn't even a thing. That's not something that happens with vaccines.
But in their mind, that's the calculation they're making, even though it's disconnected from reality and how the science actually works. And I think that's a special kind of psychosis I don't know what to do about.
Absolutely. That's why it's a death cult, dude. It's a death cult, and it's insane. And it's insane that people in government are kowtowing to this. People in government are supporting this.
Yeah, and to the people that are well, the government shouldn't be able to tell me what I put in my body. The government shouldn't be able to force me to get vaccines. You know which historical American figure forced people to get vaccines? George Washington.
And the COVID vaccine happened under Trump.
And the COVID vaccine happened under Trump.
Like
he wants
people love to forget that.
He wants to take credit for the COVID vaccine. I think somebody said that like he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for Operation Warp Speed, but also the vaccine's dangerous and killed a bunch of people.
Crazy. And it's like this whole operation is under the guise of like informed consent to get your vaccine. The informed consent already happened a long time ago. It happened when we decided to put people in place that like knew what they were doing and said we need a vaccine schedule and we need to have kids get vaccines to go to public schools to be around other kids because their immune systems aren't developed yet, especially in kindergarten. Your immune system doesn't finish developing until you're like fucking 8 years old. It's important to get these vaccines for you and everybody else. But this whole like informed consent thing is crazy because it's just a lie. Yeah. It's just a veneer that they use to cover up what they really think, and what they really think is somehow that vaccines are evil and they're going to kill you. Because the Florida Surgeon General went on to say later in the press conference, after he said this is about making informed decisions, informed consent, he said the evil mRNA vaccine. Or the evil or the deadly or something. He just cast the mRNA vaccine in a light that was not charitable whatsoever.
And in that press conference, they kept referring to like the Bible and in God rights
your
given
body's
to us
a temple.
by God. Yeah, like it was just like.
Yeah, getting a vaccine is a decision between you and God and your doctor too.
It was just like dripping with religious sentiment, and that sucks, man. I don't think there should be religious exemptions to having to get vaccines that like save people's lives. I don't think there should be moral exemptions. There should obviously be health exemptions, like if it will hurt you, then you shouldn't get it. But like, come on, man. Like we're trying to build a civilized society here.
I don't understand how we got here.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that people are willing to do this just to appease small portions of their base. And like, there is pushback, but there's not a lot of pushback. And that's why RFK is evil, because this all spawns to that. And tune in next week when we talk about the CDC, because bro's getting grilled in the Senate right now.
Last thing I want to note is that the announcement that the Florida government was giving, because there was a couple members there, they did it in a school gymnasium.
Brother.
Like, they did it in the place that they will soon be intentionally filling with bodies. The bodies of kids that they will kill with this government action.
Florida's a place that a lot of people go.
Yeah.
It's a tourist destination, man. A lot of people go to Florida. You're just going to spread diseases across the country. Welcome back the next pandemic. In a time where we're defunding pandemic response units, in a time where RFK is like killing and defanging and absolutely dismantling everything that the CDC is doing, and then also lying about numbers. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. Brother, anti-vaxxers, it's... wow.
Yeah, eggs got too expensive. Now we got to kill half the population.
Eggs got too expensive. Welcome back the iron lung.
We're culling people from the country now, dude. It's bleak.
Oh, JJK culling games?
Soon.
Let's go.
Soon. That's what I'm living for, as access to vaccines are restricted. Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Welcome.
It is Thursday, September 4th. We're back bringing you another hit-o, and holy moly, the news is hot this week.
A lot of news happened kind of like out of nowhere, it feels like.
On Tuesday and Wednesday, we just got so much news to cover here. So we'll be talking about National Guard potentially going to Chicago. Oh. Something that's been sort of... hinted at over the past couple of weeks.
Not even like lightly hinted at, like more like just like pushed in front of you.
and now it just seems like it's going to happen. Of course, we got more Epstein files news, which good that it's in the news, bad that it's a thing.
Yeah.
And then we got to talk about a little bit later on in this episode. We got to talk about we got insane shit throughout, folks.
There's so much that happened,
even know how to summarize
and it's like it's genuinely also bad.
Yeah, we got some like shit with Venezuela. We got some shit with Eric Adams. It's crazy.
But during these trying times, I will remind you that something you can do to make yourself feel good and make me feel good. Yourself because you get the news early, and me because you know why, is to head over to patreon.com/headintheoffice. And I will remind you that we are approaching steadfastly, strongly, and faster than ever our next goal to get you guys stickers with your postcards.
That's right. We're almost there. And if we can get there before this next round of postcards goes out to everybody, then maybe you'll get a little sticker. But it's up to you.
That's a hard date. That's before the end of this month, September, because that's when those next ones are going out.
Your decision to become a patron is between you, us, and God.
Yes.
And if you want to get into heaven, you got to become a patron.
Not only is your body a temple, but so are the walls of your room where you hang up your postcard and soon to be sticker shrine.
Good point.
So I think you should adorn them with things that are nice.
Of course, you also get early access and a whole bunch of other stuff over on Patreon only. All of our other links are in the description if you want to follow us on various platforms. You might have came here from TikTok, but if you came here from TikTok, then follow us elsewhere. Who knows how long TikTok's going to last?
Exactly. And here's a concrete example of why you should follow us elsewhere. On Twitter this week, we dropped that October 1st, we will be dropping our review of 107 Days, the Kamala Harris book. Through careful deliberation, we decided that we are going to get the book, mark it up, and try and read it in 6 days to then show you what it's all about.
Yeah, she unfortunately is going to get our $60.
Yeah, unfortunately.
$30 book, of course. But yeah, we're gonna have a fun episode with that one.
And
on
that
October
news
1st.
dropped on Twitter first. And that's going to be the full episode for one of those days, guys.
Yeah.
It's either going to be 30 minutes or 3 hours. Like,
yeah, and if it's 30 minutes, that's news in and of itself. You know what I mean? So if you want to read along with us and if you want to get excited, then, I don't know, consider maybe getting the book from a library.
Yes, get the book from a library, get the book from a source for free. I don't know. I don't know whatever source that may be, but
if you want to support the show, though, you can always leave a 5-star review on both Apple and Spotify. We got one from Apple today from Haley Clark, the only podcast ever.
Yes.
In a time when nothing happens until it does, Jeremy and Gage find a way to keep me sane. As a political science and history double major who works 2 jobs to afford school, thanks Trump, I look forward to listening to this show 2 times a week now to keep me going even when things seem bleak. My favorite tertiary news source keeps me informed and aware of things that manage to slip through the cracks of my busy schedule, whether on the drive to work or walk to class, and I'm so grateful to listen to the wonderful commentary of my 2 favorite white boys as they guide us through some rough times. My love for you guys shines as bright as your hatred of Alyssa Slotkin. And don't worry, I condemn Hamas and political violence except for it. Whenever it happens.
I don't know what that is, but I also condemn all political violence for sake of being on a list.
I condemn all political violence, and I'm issuing I'm claiming plausible deniability. I don't know what it is. It could be anything, really. So
yeah, it could be anything.
I can't agree.
This next review from Mark. Let me just say, you already know I condemn Hamas and all forms of political violence. This podcast is a banger and is absolutely 5 out of 5 stars. As my favorite duo of white boys, they made news digestible and bearable, which in turn keeps me sane. Given our current political landscape, as a full-time student and full-time worker in South Texas. Yeah, goddamn. You two are my voices of reason. Shout out to the TikTok algorithm for radicalizing me into a hito head. Hashtag my favorite tertiary news source. Hashtag I need that head now.
Truth nuke.
Shout out the rebrand.
Right. Next one from Misled Chef. First, ICHAAFOPV. That's a good acronym, folks. Now, before I started listening to this show, I hated Republicans, but after being a devoted hito head since the beginning of the year, I've also learned to hate Democrats.
Yes.
I appreciate these guys keeping the news real, lighthearted, and enjoyable to hear. The best local and geopolitical pod that's out there. Stay strong, my socialist comrades. 5 out of 5 stars. Major love from the city of Memphis.
Heavy on that. Heavy on the best local and geopolitical podcast. I mean, not many people can come and bridge that gap. Because how can you be the best zoomed in and zoomed? How can you be zoomed in and zoomed out at the same time?
You can't, except we can.
We figured out a way to do it. It's like a split diopter. This is
a podcast of duality, folks. We're men of many paradoxes.
We bridge that dichotomy.
We do.
You know,
we do.
Fucked up. It's crazy what we do around here. This next one from Trouty. Oh wait, this isn't a review. This next one from Molly. Have no fear. I do condemn Hamas and all political violence. As a political science major, gonna go to law school though, because I know where the money is, attending MSU Go Green. I am consistently politics pilled. I have been listening since my sophomore year of high school. Oh my God. And now as a sophomore in college, I can still appreciate these quirked up white boys. I am a chronic hater of Alyssa Slotkin, and us Michigan leftists need to start standing on business like these 2 boys. Keep up the good work, soldiers. And that I will do.
Shout out Abdul. Next one from Theo Sorman. 10 out of 10. While listening to this podcast, I asked myself one thing that I think all Hito listeners should ask themselves. Have you said thank you once? So I would like to say thank you to this truth-centered podcast from a 2-year listener from Sweden. I approve all forms of political violence. Whoa. I got to read the second half. I approve all forms of political violence just as much as black people approve of Pete Buttigieg.
Let's go. And that's extra funny too, because there's a new Emerson poll that people were talking about on Twitter where once again, Pete Buttigieg, 0% of black people.
I don't know how he keeps doing it, man.
It's impressive. Like, it should be an error.
Like I think I think most Democrats would probably get a few percentage points support from like Republicans.
You can always find one guy who approves of like anything from any group.
Consistently putting up 0% support with black Americans. That's so cool, man. I don't know how
does he do it?
I don't know.
It's a skill.
It's cool, man. It's cool. Anyways, thank you all for those reviews. If you want your review read, you absolutely know where to go. Spotify, leave a comment, and we can't verify it, but make sure you leave a 5-star review as well.
Yeah, make sure you rate that shit.
And then Apple Podcasts, of course.
Of course, always. That we can verify.
Now, we got to get into the news here. And first, we're going to start off with the National Guard in Chicago. Is bleak.
It is bleak.
It's incredibly bleak. Another week of just like having to endure military occupations.
Yeah. And also it's more bleak because last week they were plans, and now while Chicago's not occupied like DC, like damn near. Mm-hmm. Like they're getting there?
Yeah, they're essentially staging it. So it's basically a foregone conclusion at this point because Trump admitted as much at this like proof of life press conference that he had on Tuesday.
So sick. That dude disappeared for 7 days, didn't talk to anybody, didn't have any media appearances, and then he comes to his I'm Alive press conference to announce that he's like moving Space Force.
And he was late first.
Yeah,
like he was late. He was late to his I'm Alive press conference, which is incredibly Joe Biden coded. Joe Biden was consistently late to every public appearance he had.
Not only Joe Biden, but all of Joe Biden's like staffers. Anybody in that administration was late to like every single press conference. And Matthew Miller wasn't even on time.
And like Trump is repeatedly late as well. And it's like the people in government just do not respect your time.
No,
like,
no,
do
not at all.
Give a shit about your time. So at this proof of life press conference, Trump was asked about the National Guard going into Chicago, and he said, "quote We are going in. I didn't say when, but we are going in." So it's happening.
Okay, nice.
Like it's happening. It's just a matter of time. After that press conference, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said, quote, and this is from Reuters. The quotes are from Reuters. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said after Trump spoke that he had learned from reporters that the Trump administration has gathered ICE agents and military vehicles, and that there are more ICE agents that are on the way. He said the Trump administration was staging Texas National Guard for deployment in Illinois, along with federal agents from ICE, Customs and Border Patrol, and the Department of Homeland Security and other agencies. He said Trump would position armed federal agents and stage military vehicles on federal property, such as the Great Lakes Naval Base, including individuals relocated from Los Angeles.
Brother, it's like it's fucking Russia before they invaded Ukraine. What's next? Yeah. They're going to bring the goddamn blood bags to the Great Lakes Naval Base?
Yeah, we're just like we're staging a military occupation, military invasion.
They're quite literally lining up on like the border of Chicago.
And it's like, deploying the Texas National Guard to Chicago is meant to antagonize the people of Chicago and provoke a response.
Yes.
You do not send the Texas National Guard otherwise.
And it's just like a way that he thinks that he can get away with this too, because he can't just nationalize what Trump can't do so. I find myself sitting here. Like, Trump's not supposed to be able to nationalize the Illinois federal, like fucking A, dude, the Illinois National Guard. But I think he thinks he can get away with sending the Texas National Guard because Greg Abbott said it's okay. Mm-hmm. But it's like now we just got states invading states. Yeah,
but the thing is, like with California, he nationalized the California National Guard, and at first Gavin Newsom tried to play ball, then immediately found that it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
And if this was genuinely a peacekeeping operation, first of all, you wouldn't send the military in because, as we'll talk about, that's not effective. But if in his like frame of view, this was a peacekeeping operation, why not mobilize the people that like already know the state and already know the city?
Yeah, why not mobilize Chicago PD?
You're sending in the Texas National Guard because you want to antagonize people, you want to own the libs, and you want to punish your political enemies.
Absolutely.
Like that's the only reason he's doing this, and that shit sucks.
And it's like it's such a weird merger of what happened in California and what happened in DC too. But like in Chicago, there aren't even like Waymos to burn down. I don't think like no Waymos are on fire in Chicago. You can't try and say that this is a rebellion, even though that didn't work in LA, considering that a judge ruled like last week that was illegal.
I got that in here.
However, but once again, Trump illegal.
Law doesn't exist.
Man, it's so hard to like do commentary and talk about things when there are no rules.
The pretense for the occupation of LA was like the rebellion, right? And that was like the protest against ICE. Stephen Miller claimed like it was a foreign nation that had invaded and we need to quell the protest essentially. DC, the pretext was there's like, marauding gangs of young people that are just going around and terrorizing white folks, which is the subtext of it. And they were able to do that because of like the home rule, and the federal government has a lot of power over DC, which is because it's not its own state, right? Nothing has happened in Chicago.
No, it's just Chicago.
Yeah, it's just Chicago. They keep talking about like there's a mass shooting, I think, over the weekend or over Labor Day weekend that they're trying to like use as an example for why the National Guard should go in, but it's like America moment.
Yeah,
like that's just America.
Those things just happen.
Yeah,
all the time actually.
And it's like Chicago or Illinois actually regulates the firearms, but you know why there's so many guns in places like Chicago is because Indiana doesn't. Like that's the reason. But I wanna talk about the pretense a little bit because the argument from the administration is that Chicago is just steeped in crime. Crime rates are soaring in Chicago, and therefore the National Guard needs to go in. However, this summer Chicago saw its fewest murders since 1965, and homicides broadly are on track to match the pre-pandemic lows.
So it's just like DC. It's just crime is going down everywhere, including these out-of-control Democrat-run cities, but
quote,
still
unquote.
People are scared of the city, and they need to send in the military to stop it.
Yeah, and that's just homicides, right? Violent crime more broadly has been trending down precipitously since the 1990s, just like every other American city.
Yeah.
Crime is not at an all-time high. Murder is not at an all-time high. In fact, it's at like an all-time low.
But people in the suburbs think it is.
Yes.
And that's what's fucked up about all this, is people in the suburbs think that there are roving gangs of violent youth running around every Democrat-run city in places they don't even step foot in.
Yeah, it's simply not true that Chicago is suffering from a massive crime wave right now. And I wanna disentangle this a bit more, right? Because like that's the administration's pretext. But how can we interpret this, or how can we like analyze the purpose of lying about crime in this way? When the administration talks about crime, they're not talking about protecting you from theft or protecting you from violence. They mean that they don't want to have to see homeless people or black people in public.
Yes.
That is explicitly what they mean. I mean, Trump, when he was talking about Baltimore at this press conference, said something like they're born to be criminals.
That's
insane. If that's not like an excuse to try to essentially ethnically cleanse or marginalize these groups more than they already are, then I don't know what is, man.
Well, was it Stephen Miller or Benny Johnson that said we need to bulldoze neighborhoods, entire neighborhoods in D.C.?
Benny Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, classic. Yeah. Like these people just want to get rid of black people because they can't separate the idea that like black people aren't criminals.
Yeah,
they can't not think that.
And the issue is that like a lot of suburbanites, when they see a homeless person, they think that means crime is high, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the image of crime they have in their head is like just a homeless guy or somebody doing drugs.
There are moms that walk around here that won't give a homeless person $1 because they think they're just going to spend it all on heroin.
Yeah, and also the other thing, of course, is that they want to send ICE into immigrant communities, and I think it was Pritzker that said the plan seems to be to send ICE in during the Mexican independence celebrations that are happening later this month.
Oh, cool.
Which is just like, yeah, they're just targeting brown people. Like that's their purpose.
Once again, like with everything with this administration, the cruelty is the point.
Yes.
Like they want to do these things on these days to maximize how awful they are. They love the aesthetics of evil.
It's punishing their political enemies. It is these like cultural victories over people of color, and then it is getting as many immigrants out as they can.
Man.
And that shit sucks, dude. That's evil.
And we got here because eggs were too expensive?
Eggs were too expensive. Now we're doing fascism.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now we can't even get the trinkets.
And let's just say for a moment that like crime was up in Chicago and like something needed to be done. Why would sending in the military be the solution? Does nothing to address the root causes of crime. And if that's too woke for you because I'm a leftist, then like the analogy I saw that I thought was pretty good, I can't remember who said this, was like sending in the National Guard is akin to the teacher just staring at you and forcing you to read. It only lasts for as long as they're looking at you.
Yeah.
Once they're gone, like nothing fundamentally changed about the cause of the problem.
Yeah, no, literally, like if in DC, if it is true that there have been literally 0 murders ever since the National Guard took over, which it's like hard to believe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you have a dude with a M4 in camo in a fucking mine-proof, ambush-proof vehicle at every goddamn corner staring everybody down, of course nobody's going to act up. When you have somebody's boot on your neck, of course you're not going to walk around and fucking go crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, sure, crime can be oppressive. Crime can be a threat to freedom, but also the military occupying your city is a threat to freedom.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. It seems like it seems like big government might be the problem.
But if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about.
Oh, of course.
Exactly.
Of course. That is a hard truth.
That's why it's cool that you should have a checkpoint on every block in DC.
So if we want to talk about law and if he can do this, A judge did recently rule that the military occupation of LA was illegal and that the situation in LA did not meet that of a rebellion, which is, of course, required to suspend the Posse Comitatus Act, which, like, yeah, fucking obviously.
Yeah, no, literally, of course it's not a rebellion. It was like 2 blocks and a couple Waymos.
It took you 3 months to figure out that it wasn't a rebellion? Like, come on now.
That's, like, kind of the problem with, like, how, like, checks and balances are set up. Like, I feel like the way that the American government was envisioned just did not account for anybody acting in bad faith. Because, like, yes, the courts would be the branch of government that could check this rampant abuse of executive power, but they can't do it quick, and they can't enforce it themselves.
Yeah.
Like, if we have to wait 3 months for a judge to look through the law and determine whether or not a couple guys burning down a Waymo and protesting in the streets of a couple blocks in LA constituted a fucking rebellion against the federal government, I don't think that we can actually rely on the courts to meaningfully do anything in time to stop something real.
Yeah, and the issue is, like, we've created a system of incentives where if the administration moves fast enough, they are not legally accountable for anything that they do.
Exactly. And aren't universal injunctions over?
Yeah. Like, it's just law doesn't matter anymore. If you can't catch up with them and say, like, hey man, this shit's illegal, then they're just gonna keep doing it and then say, like, oh well, after the fact.
Like, eventually they are just gonna say no when they lose these court cases. They are gonna get frustrated enough and they are just gonna say no. And it's just like, dude, I hate Stephen Miller so much, man, because it's just like things like this make me think about how he constantly has been going around. Conservatives, once again, love talking about small government, love talking about big government overreach because 2 guys can kiss in public. You know what I'm saying? And then Stephen Miller gets in here and he constantly yaps about the supremacy of federal law and restoring the supremacy of federal law. Brother, that sounds fash. I don't even talk like that. And, like, I kind of somewhat, but, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they go and do this. And then they go and do all this. They break federal law. Law doesn't fucking matter. It's a shit show.
Yeah, they don't believe in anything, right? Like, no one actually believes in the idea of, like, small federal government or states' rights. They just sort of posit that when they don't want the government to, like, I don't know, desegregate.
Once again, government should only be as big as we can totally control. And it shouldn't be any smaller than that. It shouldn't be any more fragmented than that so that nobody under me can do anything else.
I just wish people would, like, tell the truth about what they want the federal government to do. Because when people talk about small government, all they really mean, like you said, is like, I want the government to be able to do the things that I want it to do. Nobody has a principled opinion on the powers of the federal government. We just want it to do certain things. Like, I want it to have the power to, I don't know, make society more equal. And they want it to have the power to kick out all the brown people.
And I'm honest about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't sit here and hide my arguments behind, like, the idea of, like, states' rights or whatever. It's the government shouldn't be involved in certain choices, but in some they should.
Like, yes, the government should be able to entirely seize and nationalize the health insurance industry. Like, that is a thing the government should do.
Should be able to wipe out my student loan debt and tell Sally Mae to kick rocks.
Yeah, but the government should not be able to tell someone, like, hey, you can't get an abortion.
Yes.
And, like, these are all value statements I'm making and I'm willing to defend. But when people hide behind, like, I want a small federal government, they just don't have to defend any of their beliefs.
We never hear anything else other than I want to have a small government. Conservatives never argue about anything like abortion or vaccines or anything like that on the, like, merits of the issue. They just argue on the level of, when I can control that, I'm going to do something different. I'm never going to explain to you why. It's fucked up.
Yeah, and I think it's bad for democracy. So, and also one other thing on this judge ruling, another reason that law doesn't exist, is that it only applies to California.
See, like, why?
They said, like, that you can't redeploy to California again. So this wouldn't serve to stop. Maybe it would serve as, like, precedent to stop future ones, but, like, it doesn't right now apply to Illinois.
I think that's what it is too. And whether or not this has to do with that judge couldn't introduce a universal injunction or not, like, this whole idea that, like, the courts are run based on, like, precedent established in multiple different jurisdictions, so that when things eventually go up to appellate courts or the Supreme Court, those justices have, like, a robust amount of decisions to weigh and consider. Once again, does not work when one guy's just not listening. When we're just playing catch me if you can with the law and people's lives and safety.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so these judicial challenges clearly are not enough. We can't just rely on the courts to protect us here. And that's why we keep calling for things like full and direct resistance from politicians, from the media, and from everybody else involved here, right? It can't just be that we rely on the courts. We have to actively be making the case that these are, like, wild injustices, and people got to be on the streets protesting addressing these injustices
Yes.
as well. And this brings me lastly to the liberal response. Obviously, Pritzker and Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, have been doing a pretty good job resisting. Brandon Johnson, I think, just signed in another ordinance saying, like, officers are not allowed to wear masks. ICE officers, even like federal agents, are not allowed to wear masks in our city. Chicago police are not to cooperate with any of the federal law enforcement. So, like, they're doing what they can ahead of time. On the other end, we have people like Mayor Bowser essentially saying, like, I welcome the federal occupation of D.C.
Which is just insane.
Which sucks. Yeah, that sucks. Like, we need a full resistance here. And we're seeing a spectrum of responses on the liberal side.
I get that, like, Bowser in D.C. can't literally do anything legally because the law doesn't exist, and even when it does, she doesn't have any power.
Yeah.
But when the only thing you have is your voice, you ought to use it.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, that's what I'm a podcaster.
Well, and when the D.C. shit all kicked off, she said, this is the first step towards fascism. And then, like, 3 weeks later, she's like, yeah, but it's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, I guess,
I'm
like,
sorry,
murderers are
man.
out, like,
You got to keep pushing back. You should never make it easy for these people.
No.
Don't
like,
obey in
That's why
advance.
you have, like, public office, because you're supposed to, like, believe things and do things. I never want to hear, like, anybody in this moment say, oh, we'll let the courts handle it. Oh, we should let these things decide. We should take a second to have a measured response. Yeah. I think that the stakes are too high to take a moment and not call balls and strikes, as my favorite senator says.
I love Alyssa Slotkin.
I love Alyssa Slotkin.
But this, so I want to make it clear that, like, there's a lot of different modes of resistance that we've been seeing popping up on, like, the liberal side of the political spectrum here, right? Like, not everybody's been failing. Brandon Johnson's been doing a fine job. J.B. Pritzker seems like he's been doing a good job. But there's been some that I think have been lackluster. Mayor Bowser among them. Yeah. And then I also want to talk about something that a fantastic political commentator said. Okay. Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe had some advice to give to J.B. Pritzker. And I want to remind you, Morning Joe, MSNBC show, it's one of the top liberal mainstream media shows. This
is the show that Joe Biden watched every morning to get his, like, talking points and policy for the day.
This is Joe Biden's favorite program. And the titular Joe Scarborough, had some advice for how to contend with this threat of Trump invading Chicago. And I think we should take a listen. It's about a minute and a half. And for our audio listeners, the Chiron here says at least 54 shot, 7 killed in Chicago. Oh, so this is the frame.
We're already, like, primed for something great right now.
Yes, we are priming the audience to be afraid. And here's what Scarborough had to say for J.B. Pritzker.
You have leaders in Chicago that see this, as you say. We've been reading about this for years now, every weekend, and maybe crime has gone down. But, you know, we had the mayor of Chicago on last week saying, oh, we don't need any more police officers. Police officers aren't the answer. No police officers. You know, I think he said no 5 times. You look what's happening this weekend. You look so, you know, I actually think that J.B. Pritzker should do something radical.
Oh, no.
I think he should pick up the phone.
Oh, no.
Call the president and say, you know and I know you don't have the constitutional authority to deploy the National Guard here, and the police might too. You can do that in D.C. You can't do that in Chicago. But let's partner up. These are the most dangerous parts of my state.
What?
We would love to figure out how to have a partnership that's constitutional, that respects the sort of balance of federalism between the federal government and the state government. And let's work together to save lives. Because right now, just hey, nothing to see here moving along. No problem here. Hey, Donald Trump, we don't need you. And, you know, the mayor talking about we're going to protect people's dignity in our city. Well, protect their lives. That's protecting their dignity. You know, it would be radical for us to figure out a way to actually do what I've been saying from the very beginning on Washington. And that is seeing politicians creating partnerships that protect their people.
Politicians.
Oh my God. Bipartisanship. Guys, we should do bipartisanship. Yeah, sure, it's unconstitutional that Trump wants to send the National Guard in to occupy Chicago. You should just let him.
We need to be prioritizing partnerships that protect our people. That's the most, like, Kamala Harris thing I've ever heard.
Oh my God, absolutely. And it's like, what is his prescription here? The problem is not that Trump wants to occupy Chicago with the fucking American military. Mm-hmm. The problem in Joe Scarborough's eyes is that it's not constitutional, and that we should still have the military occupation, just, like, make it constitutional.
Yeah, and that just seeds the ground. Like, if it is ruled constitutional, then you're cool with it.
Yeah.
Like is that the only thing that matters if they can legally do it? Like, the morality is is more complicated than just like if they can or can't.
Liberals stand for something challenge. Oh my God, dude.
Bro's terrified of having any beliefs.
This is genuinely insane, and that is the mindset. That is the reason why we have got to this place, because people like Joe are obsessed with this idea of compromising government and bipartisanship, that they're willing to like burn any sense of belief that they had once before just to get something done. I don't want anything done if it's going to be bad. And that's what conservatives do. That's what fucking Mitch McConnell did during Obama's turn. He just obstructed. And I think we should be obstructing things that are awful and evil.
It's just so like Aaron Sorkin coded. Like, oh, just call up the opposition and strike a deal. Dog, he wants to occupy Chicago.
He wants to, oh my God.
And he will occupy Chicago if he really wants to get to it, unless we have a full and direct resistance that pushes back against this influence and against him.
That's the other thing, is Trump will do this no matter what. And Joe's saying, okay, just like make it constitutional.
Yeah, make yourself his bitch, and maybe he won't.
Make yourself his bitch, and that's what everybody wants. This is why people fucking hate the Democratic Party. This is why everybody hates you and nobody wants to vote for you, because you're feckless, dude. They don't do anything. And this is why we've gotten to the point where conservatives in Florida can get rid of vaccine mandates, where RFK can run through the CDC, where Trump can militarily occupy American cities, because liberals constantly cede ground. This is why there's a mass deportation effort happening. Liberals were so obsessed with the idea of getting a deal done and appeasing fucking lunatics who think that immigrants are invading the country on the southern border, that we've let this happen. And of course they're outraged by the aesthetics of it, but when push comes to shove, they're gonna get a bipartisan deal done because they just want to get something done. And then people will continue, the country will continually be pushed further and further and further and further right until there's no more country. God damn.
And it's like the only explanation there's two explanations. It's either they're wildly incompetent, which sucks, or they just don't give a shit about these issues, right? Because like if you really cared about immigrants, would you have allowed all of this rhetorical drift about how we're letting in too many immigrants and they're coming over and killing our white women? I think if you really cared about immigrants, you would have argued that actually no, immigrants do not disproportionately commit violent crimes when compared to U.S. citizens, and actually immigrants are good for this country. But that argument was never made.
Yes.
And instead what they did was capitulate, which leads me to think either they're really bad at politics, which is true, or they just don't fucking care.
And it's like this argument right here about like just, call up Trump and still let the fucking guard come in is literally the same argument they made about immigration. It's appealing to the same false and fake fucking fears that people had about immigrants that got us that bipartisan border deal. Guys, look, Trump told people to not get a deal on the border. Look how cool that is. We're the adults in the room that want to solve this crisis. The Democrats framed the border as a crisis, and that's when they lost. And that's the same thing that they would do here if JB Pritzker actually took this fucking idiot's advice.
Yeah, because allowing them into your most dangerous cities, quote unquote, would just legitimize the fascist narrative.
And those aren't even the most dangerous cities. Fucking, I have right here a Hill article. Fucking, here are 10 cities with the highest murder rates in America. One of them, fucking Jackson, Mississippi. Another one, St. Louis, Missouri. Another one, Birmingham, Alabama. Memphis, Tennessee. Fucking Cleveland, Ohio. Louisville, Kentucky. Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I don't think there should be military occupations of these cities, to be clear.
I don't either. But those are red states, and we're never going to have a conversation about that. There are states that have a way higher fucking murder rate. There are places that have a way higher murder rate than Chicago, but Chicago's the one we hear about because it's black people.
Because it's black people and because it's a blue city and a blue state.
God damn, man.
Yeah.
This is that shit sets me off.
And he also at the beginning there did just lie about what Brandon Johnson had been saying. He said that, well, first of all, he says maybe crime is low. Crime is low. There's no maybe about it. Crime is lower. And then he said Brandon Johnson doesn't want any more police. Brandon Johnson did not say I don't want any more police. He said that we have enough police and there are other things that we need to do to address the issue of crime. And also like, crime is at like a 50-year low or whatever.
Like it's working. Like what's happening right now is working. Crime is going down.
Yeah, the fewest murders in the summertime this past summer since 1965. That was the stat I had read earlier. Like there's no need for the National Guard. Crime is not high, and even if crime was high, you don't send in the fucking National Guard because you have to address the root cause of why crime happens in the first place, which is wealth inequality. But we're so far away from even having that conversation that it feels like I shouldn't even bring it up.
No, literally, that's how I feel. Like this administration has made me a Constitution defender. This administration has made me a fucking Supreme Court defender in some instances. In in some rare like instances, like 30% of the time now, because I can't do it. I can't critique anymore.
Yeah.
I can't rest on my laurels and go fall back on my ideas because everything they do just umps the ante to a way that I find myself struggling to make unique commentary on because we're just dealing with the same shit but worse every fucking week, man. And then the goddamn liberals are going on and being like, yeah, no, that's cool actually. People are scared, and that's like okay.
Yeah, so that's Chicago, that's the National Guard, that's the fucking Joe Scarsborough response. And look, like I know he used to be a Republican and now he like fancies himself as like a sort of like centrist moderate type, but he is one of the main personifications of the quote unquote liberal media, right? Like liberals go to him. Joe Biden went to him for their morning news and even for their like the morality and prescriptions.
And it's like, yeah, Joe Scarborough used to be a Republican in like name only. He's still a Republican. It's just that the fucking center of the party has grown its tent rightward while refusing to grow it leftward. What was it? Tom Suozzi went on and said something like, we need to kick AOC, Zoran Mamdani, and Bernie Sanders out of the party and they can create their own party. Yeah. Motherfucker, dude.
They're more popular with the Democratic base than fucking Tom Suozzi is.
Exactly. Nobody likes you. Yeah. Like, nobody likes any of you guys. Catch a vibe, dude.
They can't do it.
God, man.
They can't do it.
That's fucked up.
So that's Chicago. I hope the National Guard doesn't pull up. Chicago, a genuinely wonderful and beautiful city.
It's a cool city.
It's a very nice city, and I have really enjoyed it. I think one method of resistance I've been seeing online is the sort of audio where Trump's like, Chicago's a killing field, and then it's just like a video of someone playing a saxophone in Chicago, or it's a video of like the L train going by, and I think that's nice.
That's because that's what it should be, because that's what the conservatives do. All of the shit you see about crime is just them cherry picking whatever's going on or like doing whatever and just forcing that in front of your face. Yeah. Just once again, Breitbart used to have a tab on their website that was black crime.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's either you counter that, but you counter the rage bait by doing joy bait.
Yeah, real joy bait, but not in a cringy way. Yes, and or the right wing will just like make up statistics like Chicago has the most amount of murders for a city with over a million people.
Fucking wild.
Which is just.
There are 4 cities like that, actually. There are 4. Dallas is 2.
Chicago's the only city with more than 1 million people that has a bean-shaped statue in it. So we just said in the National Guard.
That's right. We go get them.
Like anybody can make up stats if you try hard enough.
No, you can manipulate data in like any way that you want. And if you don't dive into it and actually look at what people are saying, then you'll never know that you're being lied to. And that's all conservatives do is lie to. They what conservatives want to conserve is like the military dictatorships of the past and diseases.
Well, yeah, I mean, conservative is all just about conserving hierarchy. Yeah, right? They either want to preserve or go back to a time when the hierarchy was a lot more punishing to the people they think deserve to be on the bottom of it,
like women and like minorities.
And like that's all it is. That's all it is. It's not about consistency. It's about punishing people you think are undesirables.
You know, sometimes it just feels like all the news happens on Monday and Tuesday.
It's messed up.
But my favorite podcast drops episode on Wednesdays. I don't know what to do. It feels like they miss all of it.
That's a curse.
If only there was a platform that I could go to. Where I could listen to these episodes early, maybe when they record them. Do you have any thoughts?
Boy, do I have a solution for you.
Oh, do tell.
If you head over to patreon.com/headintheofficepod, you can listen to Head in the Office episodes before the Curse of Monday and Tuesday news comes out.
Really? Do tell.
And you get access to commercial-free episodes. And everybody wants commercial-free episodes.
I bet there's also a whole host of other benefits and community engagement that they offer.
And friendship.
Very true.
Who doesn't want friendship?
The most important thing.
Absolutely.
In times like this.
Back to the episode. Anyways, that's Chicago, and I think it's time we talk about a man who's lived forever.
Lived forever, just won't. It supposedly died in 2019, but not in spirit, not in the public mind, because everybody wants to talk about this dude that we should just bury already.
And in fact, if you talk about him, I don't fuck with you.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody should be talking about this at all, and that is Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm only talking about it because other people are. They're forcing my hand, really. I think this is just one big hoax, but I got to tell people what's been going on, because now that Congress is finally working again after their like month and a half long vacation,
I know,
we finally have like more updates on the Epstein saga, because this guy just won't die. This guy just won't die, and Congress wants to work now. And this time, the majority of the news kind of centers around an internal GOP battle over how to go about releasing the files. Basically, Mike Johnson and the majority of Republicans in the House want to do everything they can to delay or just kind of outright stop the release of like the most damning portions of the files.
And this is a continuation of what we saw before. I will remind you that Congress, of course, was on their 6-week break, and they always get a 6-week break, like around August time. But Mike Johnson sent sent the House home early because he didn't want to have to take a vote on releasing the Epstein files before the recession.
Yeah, it's only supposed to be like
recess.
a 4-week break.
Yeah.
And Mike Johnson said, we're going to make it 6, and then we're going to have the Oversight Committee do a fake investigation.
And that's what convinced Ezra Klein that something fishy is going on here. Ooh, man.
Man, these people, dude.
We know too much about niche figures online.
Yeah, but it kind of brings me joy. You know what I mean? Because what is it? The opposite of like love isn't hate; it's indifference.
I gotta get my licks in, man.
I gotta get my licks in. I do it. There's something that it does to my spirit. It keeps me alive. It reminds me that I am alive. It makes me feel something.
What's that quote? I can't remember who this is from, but it's like when you don't have hope, you have vengeance. Like something's got to keep us going, you know?
Exactly. I need something to fuel the fires of my spirit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what like hating on liberals does in this instance. But this time I do want to dedicate a large portion of this to talk about this GOP infighting, because Mike Johnson, the way this battle is shaping out is Mike Johnson wants the Epstein files handled through the House Oversight Committee, which is basically them going and just like subpoenaing the DOJ, and the DOJ hands them documents and then they release them to you. And if you want to look at how that like whole thing has been going, the Oversight Committee released literally like 33,000 pages of the Epstein files on Tuesday night, but as ABC News points out, much of that information was already publicly available. This is how Mike Johnson wants you to get the files, by telling you what we already know and redacting basically everything like it's Pam Bondi giving out the binder to end wokeness.
Yeah, I saw tons of pages that were just like covered in black marks.
Yep.
And it's like, Trump's name could be under any of this.
Oh, yeah, it could literally say Trump did this thing with this.
Yeah, but it's entirely blacked out for some reason.
For some reason. I don't know. I wonder
reason.
what that reason could possibly be. The one piece of like substantive information that came out of this was it was a video of Epstein's cell block that supposedly includes the missing minute, but I want to talk more on that later. Okay. And right now, just focus on the infighting, because what the Oversight Committee has handed over so far has just barely been anything new. And like, in other words, it's just been woefully insufficient at quelling whatever outrage has been going on about this case within the party and just with people nationally. And that's why Thomas Massie, a Republican, and Ro Khanna have sort of gotten together to circulate a discharge petition that, if they can get enough signatures on, would circumvent Mike Johnson and force a vote on the release of everything that the DOJ has on the House floor. Absolute banger. Just force them to do everything. Ro Khanna said on Wednesday, in a Wednesday news conference, that what the Oversight Committee released was 1% of the files.
1% of the, that's
just
crazy.
1% of the files.
Crazy.
And Mike Johnson wants to drip feed you this information and force everything through Trump's DOJ.
Of course.
It's like, okay, Trump's DOJ, an organization I trust.
Yeah, that's the sort of like GOP party line at this point, is like, we shouldn't force the release. We should let them go through and give us the documents officially, because we trust the Trump administration, because there's no perverse incentives there at all.
We should just tell the DOJ, hey, give me this, and then they'll do it.
Yeah.
Because historically they've done that.
I don't know if you have it in here, but I think the Mike Johnson resolution literally says like encourage.
Yeah.
The word encourage, like,
that's so sick.
We're talking about one of the biggest human. We're talking about one of the biggest child sex trafficking schemes ever, and you're talking about encourage. We're going to encourage them to release the files, and it's like, that's insane.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that and not just vote to get it all out there?
Well, why would you do that if not to protect Donald Trump?
Exactly.
Right? Because that's what it is.
Because when you're funneling everything through Trump's DOJ and you're cooperating with the DOJ to get this information, you're not only like, you're giving the DOJ the time to redact whatever they want to redact that could protect Donald Trump, or just not give you anything. And he's talking about like, oh, we're subpoenaing the Epstein estate, so actually doing this oversight investigation is going to get us more information. Why not both?
Why not all of it?
Why not all of it? Why not you release all these files like tomorrow and also do that investigation into the stuff that we don't have? Yeah. There's no reason to not do both unless you're running cover for your pedophile boss.
Yeah, and that's the only explanation given Trump's recent remark. What did he say recently? Like, if you vote to release the files? It's
a Democrat hoax. I have the White House statement later on, so I'll get to that. But either way, with this discharge petition, because this is the real point of contention, as of Thursday that we're recording this, there are only 4 Republicans that have signed on to the discharge petition, while all of the Democrats are expected to sign on. That means that they need 2 signatures from Republicans to force the vote. The only Republicans that have signed on are Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert.
Never give Marjorie Taylor Greene a layup, man.
No, I'm saying
never.
And they've created space to give her many recently, and it's been unfortunate with fucking Palestine, even though that's anti-Semitic, even though I'm sure she's doing it for anti-Semitic reasons, genuinely. And this, like, you're really gonna let Marjorie Taylor Greene dominate the news cycle?
Come on, man.
You know how many regular people see that and think like, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene might not be so bad because they're not in the weeds as politics as we are? You cannot let these people get opportunities to appear normal to regular people.
To outflank you and like win public opinion.
It's fucked up, man. That's endlessly fucked up. And once again, like if you're serious about getting these files released and bringing justice, there's no reason not to support this discharge petition and Mike Johnson's thing. Yeah. The only reason you would just support the oversight committee and not want the files released is if you want to run cover for Trump.
You run, and that's
point blank.
And they're not even like hiding it anymore.
Yes.
Like it's so obvious what this is meant to do.
Yes. And per Politico, the legislation that Thomas Massie is trying to force the vote on says that the petition would force a vote in fucking A, dude. I cannot read today. The legislation that Thomas Massie wants to force the vote on would allow the DOJ to redact information that could compromise the victim's identity or depict abuse, but it would have to formally justify all of its redactions to Congress. This is in stark contradiction to what Mike Johnson wants, where the DOJ just tells you whatever they want and you can't do anything. This is Congress with the power of law telling the DOJ, give me this and explain every choice that you're going to make. They can't hide things behind that if that's the case then. Quote, no record shall be withheld, delayed, or redacted on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary. And the DOJ would have to turn everything in within 30 days.
Somehow this is going to be called anti-Semitic.
Real. This is the bill. Like this is everything that everyone who cares about the Epstein files wants. This is government transparency. It is handing over the complete everything.
Yeah. And it does beg the question of like, if Republicans really cared about this, why didn't they do it before? Right? If you can just do this and say, give us all the Epstein files, then like maybe they could have forced Joe Biden to do it, but they didn't, probably because they know that this issue is just a carrot they dangle in front of their voters and not something that they're ever actually supposed to give to their voters.
And then
because they would indict people like Trump.
They accidentally let them get a taste. It's crazy to watch just how stupid that they think that the American people are. Too.
Yeah.
It's crazy to watch how much they really thought they could get away with. And how this whole situation is just their own doing. Not even just because they ran on it, but because of how they went about telling people they were going to do it. They got way too ahead of themselves. They're like, we're going to release all the files. And instead, actually, we investigated ourselves.
And some of them in the administration were true believers. Like, I think Dan Bongino, I think they genuinely thought that that's what they were going to do. And now they've been handed the directive that, like, you can't do that. And Dan Bongino also had, like, a co-deputy assigned to his position.
Dan Bongino got, like, fired, but not. Dan Bongino was made obsolete.
Quiet fired. Yeah, exactly.
And now after that, he hasn't been talking about this. At least I haven't seen it in the media that he's talking about this. So I guess it worked.
Yeah. So, I mean, fucking support to Thomas Massie. Holy moly. Dude's been putting up threes lately.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's kind of good to watch. It's kind of good to watch. But this whole thing has obviously been scaring the shit out of Trump because his name is all over the files and he's been acting like it. So much so that after the press conference with Epstein's victims, by the way, that happened on Wednesday, right after, he went on to continue to call it a, quote, Democrat hoax that never ends. They're going to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success we've had as a nation since I've been president.
What do you guys think that means?
Come on now.
Like... They're going to get people to talk about things that are irrelevant to the success. Like, that is just an admission.
Uh-huh. When my girlfriend's like, did you do the laundry today? I'm like, that's irrelevant to whether or not I'm like cooking dinner right now and trying to put a healthy meal on the table. Like, why would you even bring that up right now? It's a Democrat hoax that I didn't do the laundry. I forgot to transfer the load. It's fucked up, man. And like, aside from Trump's irreverent comments, he's been trying to just directly exert pressure on members of the House GOP to stop the discharge petition from going through. So the White House released a statement saying, quote, helping Thomas Massie and liberal Democrats with their attention seeking while the DOJ is fully supporting a more comprehensive file release effort from the Oversight Committee would be viewed as a very hostile act to the administration. What the fuck does that mean?
If you demand that we justify our redactions in the Epstein files, that's a hostile act.
If you demand that we have oversight to our investigation into ourselves, then you're going to be in trouble, buddy.
Like, and yeah, you have to ask, who is it a hostile act to? It's a hostile act to the guy who has to have his name redacted.
Yes.
And that guy happens to be the president as well.
Exactly.
Like
it's just, this is not how I act when I'm telling the truth about something. This is how I act when I have to lie about something because I don't know, my life would be in jeopardy if something happened, or I'd go to fucking jail, or like, this isn't how an innocent person acts. And I'm not usually a fan of that line.
Yeah. No, I don't like to do the whole thing. Like, if you have nothing to hide, then you got nothing to worry about type shit.
Because it's not true most of the
because
time.
that's just used to sort of provide cover for government overreach into your life, like abuses of your civil rights. But when we're talking about people in power, I do think you have to fully disclose shit.
It's like not only people in power, but it's people in power who have been like pictured and used to be best friends with the guy, and wrote the guy a fucking birthday card with a body and signed his name in the pubes. And,
oh my god!
Invited him to his second wedding, or invited his girlfriend to his second wedding, and like all this bullshit. And it's just like,
and every week there's new pictures of them hanging out.
When you're implicated with the pedophile king, I think the scrutiny becomes a lot higher, man. I don't know. And you're the president, and you campaigned on this.
Like, I'm sorry, but if the files come out and somebody's name is listed and it describes them doing terrible things, or there's videos that show them doing terrible things, and like, I think given the high profile nature of all of this, the public should know about it.
Yes.
Because the government has clearly been hiding it for years. Like, I think we should know about it.
And it's just like the conservative line, like the line from the like 200 something conservatives that are going to vote to protect pedophiles, is that they're just trying to protect information surrounding the victims. But that doesn't work when the victims come and have a press conference on Wednesday saying that publicly that they want the release of the files. You can't really hide behind the victims when the victims are coming out and telling you that you're wrong.
Yeah.
And it'd be fucked up to do so.
And it's not like re-victimizing the victims to have the perpetrators go to jail. Like, that's what I would call justice.
Exactly, especially when it's of great public interest whether or not the perpetrators are indeed perpetrators.
Yeah, and I know there's a bunch of, like, I don't know, legal mumbo-jumbo around, like, releasing documents that implicate people in crimes that they haven't been charged for. Like, I think there's a bunch of, like, legal shit around that. But, like, again, this is so high profile. This is so entangled with the power systems of our country that I am totally fine with people being outed as fucking pedophiles that benefited from whatever power brokering Epstein did. Like, it's insane.
It's like, you mean to tell me conservatives expect me to believe that Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein victimized like 1,000 people and nobody else was involved in that? But he was just around all these powerful people all the time and loved to talk about young women with powerful people all the time.
The fucking Ezra Klein analysis. Like, he was a pedophile, but also he was a power broker, and those two parts of his life stayed entirely separate.
He just did all those things by himself. Like, come on, man.
And like, Trump wouldn't be acting like this if that was the case.
Yeah.
If Trump just knew him as like a New York financier and they were just buddy because they were both rich, he'd be like, yeah, go ahead and release the files because there's nothing incriminating on me in there.
Yes.
But he can't do that because he clearly did something wrong. Because, like, if it was genuinely the case that, like, his name was in there and it looked suspicious, he could get out there and just explain it.
Yeah.
But it's got to be so damning because he will not release an ounce of these files.
His name's got to be all over the files. Like, nobody else has defended themselves like this guy.
Nobody.
Ghislaine Maxwell didn't even defend herself like this. You can't make this shit up, dude. Nobody is this obsessed about it being a hoax, and he's really forced his party. We've been put into a position where there are going to be over 200 House conservatives that are going to vote to just explicitly protect pedophiles, protect people who are implicated in the Epstein list. And mind you, this is the same party that screams about gay books in schools and trans people just existing in life, and how that's some great moral depravity, and how those people are sex pests, and if you're trans or gay in public, that means you're grooming kids and you're going to turn them gay to horror.
The official GOP line is that everything the left does is child abuse, except actual child abuse, which is okay.
And I'm going to vote to protect it. These same people that call trans people and gay people groomers are going to then say, I don't want the people on the Epstein list to come to justice. And they're going to put their votes behind that. They're going to put their name behind that. Their elected office.
After for years benefiting from the fact that a large majority of the public wants these files released.
Yes.
Like, they've been the party that's ran on this shit, that's ran on, like, we need to get the files out. And the spin they had was because it's going to implicate all the Democrats. But in reality, it implicates just a bunch of powerful people over the course of several decades, which happens to include their guy.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, man. This shit's fucked.
And just once again, like, 4 decades, LGBTQ people had to endure constant rhetoric from politicians really everywhere, but most mostly conservatives in the most vicious ways, that their very existence was corrosive to the social fabric of the country.
And they still say that. They call it a social contagion.
That two dudes holding hands in public was going to turn some child gay because they saw it, and they're going to start questioning things, and that's somehow like bad or something. If it even happens, which it doesn't. And now those same people are going to go and say, nah, Epstein hoax.
Defend the pedophile king.
Hey, no, I'm not going to vote to release the files. Like, we need to do it where the guy implicated can control everything.
They want to protect the pedophile king, and specifically because it implicates their guy.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And it's so obvious and everybody can tell.
Uh-huh. Like, bro, you're not hiding it. You're not slick.
It's not slick
You're
at
not
all.
slick. Nothing that you're doing here is slick, man. And it's like the GOP loves to pretend to care about children, but they only care about, like, money and power and being hateful.
They only care about kids insofar as it can gain them political power.
Exactly. They care about kids insofar as they can use it as a culture war item to get political office, and that's it.
Yeah.
When it actually comes to caring about kids and bringing people to justice for the most prolific child sex trafficker, like, in modern history, I'm silent.
Yeah.
Conveniently,
Nothing to say.
they got nothing to say, man. It is fucked up. Conservative politicians don't care about sex crimes. They don't care about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
in
that's
fact,
what it
some
is.
of them have perpetrated the crimes.
Some of them have perpetrated
Some of
sex
them were
crimes.
directly involved, it seems.
And they're just doing this so that they can keep brushing shoulders with the same people who did the sex crimes. Wicked. Wicked. That's why I don't fuck with that. I condemn that viciously.
But like we know that like sex crimes are not a deal breaker for Republicans.
Yeah.
Like
Trump.
Yeah, well, like Trump, it's like they just don't give a fuck like about
like,
any of this.
Trump already allegedly committed many sex crimes.
Exactly.
Bro's been to court for like lots of sex crimes, found civilly liable for sex crimes. You mean to tell me it's a stretch that he did other sex crimes? Oh, a guy who did sex crimes did sex crimes. Whoa, no, what? What do you mean?
Yeah, it's not even elite.
Sounds like a fucking Democrat hoax to me, man. Jesus Christ. But now that we're done talking about like the actual like vote and the like political situation behind this, I do want to go back to the missing minute and dive a little deeper because I think it's funny. I think it's really funny how much the Trump administration hates you and thinks you're stupid.
And I do need to say that like when this whole missing minute and then actually missing 3 minute story came out, it should have been like the biggest political scandal ever.
Yes.
Because the Trump administration said, we released the full footage of the night Jeffrey Epstein, quote unquote, killed himself. And then it turns out there were 3 minutes missing.
Yeah.
And when the online sleuths did their investigation, they found that the footage was edited in Premiere Pro.
No, literally, they go, this is the full information. You guys got it. Here's the video, but also there's a minute missing because of blah, blah, blah. And then immediately Wired says, guys, this was literally edited 4 times. Like, cut, delete, cut, merge.
Like and it was the old, and there was like a clear blind spot in the camera angle. It's absurd. It's absurd.
So unbelievable. And it's like, I don't want to sit here and focus on like a missing minute because I feel like a conspiracy theorist. But like, one, Epstein didn't kill himself. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And two, this is the kind of shit that people would have got impeached for in the 90s and removed.
Yeah.
Like, this is so beyond fucked up. But I want to start this discussion. I want to prime this all with a quote from Pam Bondi from a couple weeks ago when the first prison video was released with the missing edited minute. Quote, there was a minute that was off that counter, and what we learned from Bureau of Prisons every year, every night, they redo that video. Every night is reset, so every night should have the same missing minute. And we all knew that that was a lie.
It seems like an enormous lapse in security, by the way.
Exactly. Like, how is that a thing?
In this whole prison, every camera goes out for a whole minute.
Does that even make sense?
Well, it doesn't make sense, but it's like,
This is a
damn.
total blackout where anything can happen and nobody can know anything. Like, really, you expect me to fucking believe that? And they did expect you to believe that. And then 2 months later, they just dropped the fucking minute. Like, this is absurd. Not a single thing that they've said has been correct. Not a single thing that they've said about this has been truthful ever.
Yeah.
And she heads the DOJ, and Mike Johnson wants all the information that they're going to release to be funneled through her. And you want to tell me that that's credible?
Yeah, after she's brazenly lied to us.
This is literally just a bold-faced lie. Like, I knew it was a lie, but like, it didn't feel like it was this crazy of a lie until just the video comes out. Because I would have expected them to fight tooth and nail to withhold this video from everywhere, considering they made up the explanation about every prison just like missing.
Yeah.
There's always security breaks in prisons all the time, blah, 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 whatever. Just fucking deal with it. You should be fighting tooth and nail to hide that. And now it's just released.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that like, in Epstein's cell block, there was like 2 of 11 cameras active that night.
Yeah.
Which is just like, I mean, come on, man. There's too much smoke to be a fire. There's just too much smoke to not be a fire. Like,
and it's also like, we have the missing minute now.
Yeah.
But the video itself just doesn't look credible. Like, it doesn't look credible at all. Forensic experts told CBS News the video did not appear to be raw footage, but instead possibly a screen recording. They also noted the camera's limited field of view opened the possibility that someone could have entered the tier unnoticed.
Well, there you go.
We got it right there. It's just fucking right there, dude. These people hate you.
They hate
and they're
you.
trying to run cover for a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fuck with that. I don't do that
It's
at
like,
all.
this is like worse than Watergate. Like,
Yeah.
I just, and we don't treat it like that because there's so many other things going on at the same exact time with mass deportations and military occupations and all this stuff. But like, this is a worse cover up than Watergate.
It's like, how did politics used to be boring?
Like Nixon was covering up like the people he had do break-ins and the spying he was doing on his political opponents.
Yeah.
These people are covering up a massive, the president's involvement in a massive pedophile sex trafficking
And killing a guy in prison.
Like this is infinite. This is a bigger deal than Iran-Contra. This is a bigger deal than Watergate. Like, this should be the defining characteristic of the Trump administration.
It should be the biggest presidential scandal in history.
Yeah.
This is so immensely fucked up. You can't just like lie to the public like this. They're trying to tell you that Lisa Cook needs to be removed from the board of governors from the Fed because maybe she misrepresented herself on a second mortgage.
Yeah, because she claimed 2 primary residences.
And JD Vance said in an interview that means we cannot trust her to run the Federal Reserve. JD Vance went on Theo Von and said we should release the files. And now we got this going on. Everybody in this administration lies like it's breathing. It's fucked up. And because this information, because the video that was released is probably a screen recording, it contains no metadata.
Of course.
So they learned from their mistake, and they don't want people going and seeing that they cut this up in Premiere Pro anymore. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it also has a different text overlay than the previously released video, while also being a lower quality. It's just like, I don't want to say it's fake, but like, why are these elements different?
They edited it up and then they took a screen recording. That's all it was.
Exactly.
Just so you couldn't like inspect element on the
This
video.
is the most suspicious way to go about doing any of this. In front of your face, man. We live in the 21st century.
It makes me think then like the 1 minute that they cut out like was genuinely indicting. Like there was something that happened there.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Well, and like even in the stuff that they released, it's also indicting too, because beyond just the missing minute, the video release just raises new questions from CBS's article. Quote, in the new video, Epstein is seen just before 7 p.m. being escorted to G tier, where, according to the Inspector General's report, he was brought to a shower stall to make an unmonitored phone call in violation of prison policy, allegedly to speak with his girlfriend. At 7:49 p.m., as seen in previously released video, he is visible being escorted from the G tier to his cell in L tier, although the limited camera view doesn't actually capture his entrance into the tier. So he made a phone call that he wasn't supposed to make, and we didn't see him actually go into his cell.
And then he just happened to die later.
Like, I feel like a conspiracy theorist, but like, come on, man.
It's just you put all of, like, you can't take any of this in isolation. You put it all together and you see how Trump is responding and how the Republican Party is actively trying to protect him. And it's like, well, he must be a pedophile.
Like, this is supposed to clear his name? This is supposed to make me think that nothing actually happened? Everything you do makes me think that more things happened, and in fact, I'm thinking the scandal may even be bigger than I once thought.
It seems like it goes deeper.
Maybe Epstein didn't kill himself like even harder. I don't know,
And like,
man.
who was this phone call actually to?
Yes.
Like, was he calling someone to like spill?
Or did Hillary Clinton call him and said, "Buddy, kill yourself"? Like, I don't know. We can't know. He wasn't even supposed to make it. Fucked
And
up, man.
wasn't it these details came out like right after he died or killed himself, fucking whatever. Didn't like the security guards fall asleep or some shit?
I don't know.
Like, I think that's what it was.
They noted in the CBS article that one of the guys that was seen on video was on his 3rd straight 8-hour shift.
Oh yeah, well that'll do it.
Like, come on, man. Come on. I feel like government cover-ups are supposed to have more sauce than this.
They're so bad at it.
The CIA used to do like wicked stuff to try and like do anything. And now they're just editing video in front of your face. They basically have reporters in the fucking editing bay watching them cut up a video on Final Cut and then releasing it to the public and saying we didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, like Nixon tried so much harder than this, man. And Nixon could have gotten away with it.
Yeah.
He was just a little sloppy with the tapes, you know what I mean? And eventually that caught up to him, and like there was a team of dedicated reporters coming after his ass nonstop. Shout out when Bob Woodward actually tried to be an investigative journalist. But like this, if we can analyze this and say like this is nonsense, then it's over.
Like, I don't want to be a conspiracy guy, but like I gotta be.
It's not even. It's not a conspiracy though. We're just looking at the evidence as it exists. Like,
I'm just forming conclusions.
Yeah,
I'm coming to my own conclusions. You know what I'm saying?
It's. Oh my God. This episode of Head in the Office is brought to you by Ground News.
Breaking news can often involve a whirlwind of misinformation, and if you want to get to the heart of a story quickly, our friends over at Ground News can help.
Ground News is a resource you can get on your phone or your computer that collects headlines and stories from around the world and puts them in one place to allow you to compare coverage, check political biases, and see how each publication is funded.
Using Ground News, you can see who's reporting on each story, what their political leanings are, and you can even see news that is going unreported by the right or the left. Ground News offers you an individual breakdown of the content that you've consumed so that you can be aware of your own media diet. Overall, it is a great tool to help understand how narratives are emerging on both sides of the political spectrum in real time.
If you want to help out the show, which we know you want to do, and get a discount on Ground News, go to check.ground.news/headintheoffice for 40% off. Link is also in the description. Their Vantage plan offers all the features we referenced and more.
Special thanks to Ground News for sponsoring this podcast. Now back to the show.
Let's keep going with the absurd news stories, though.
Yeah,
because that's an update. That's an update on Epstein, and previously you got an update on Chicago and the National Guard and whatnot. But we got yet another thing that came out of this press conference, the Proof of Life press conference, and it has to do with Venezuela. So on Tuesday, literally hours after we recorded the previous episode, Trump admitted to committing war crimes on live TV.
Man, it just like it doesn't get any more Trump than this.
No,
man.
it doesn't.
And it's like at least when it comes to like war crimes, I don't have the like initial reaction of wondering if this is legal because I'm just so used to U.S. presidents doing bad things.
Yeah, no, this is so the U.S. bombed a boat in the Caribbean that was claimed to be Tren de Aragua trafficking cocaine into the United States.
Heavy on claimed.
It's all claimed because I haven't presented any evidence of this. The strike killed 11 people that Trump claimed were terrorists and provided no other details as to who those people were, what the evidence was, or what they were doing, or even what was on the boat.
They're just doing they're Hamas. They're just doing I found Hamas. Next thing you know, they're gonna go seize a boat and it's gonna have an iPad with a picture of Hitler on the home screen.
Marco Rubio has said that these strikes are going to continue, and we know from a report from Reuters back in August that military vessels have been stationed off the coast of Venezuela. We are just aggressing.
What the fuck are we doing, dude? Why?
We're just like we're planning like a military siege, I guess. Because like this straight up is just an act of war, right? Like we're saying TDA is the government of Venezuela. We just killed members of TDA and we have our military vessels off the coast of Venezuela.
Well, didn't like we get involved with one of the like big wars in history because a boat got sunk?
Oh yeah, what was
the USS something?
Lusitania or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah.
That got us in like a big war.
That's classic, man. We sunk our own ship as a pretext to go to war. That's a classic. We've been doing that kind of shit. So what we've done essentially is extrajudicially kill 11 people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There was no actual evidence for this. There's really no justification for this at all.
And there is no evidence because the evidence that we could collect is at the bottom of the sea.
Yep.
We can't go get it now. Yep. It's at the bottom of the Caribbean and there's nothing we can do to analyze
The only
this.
evidence we have is the video they published of them killing 11 people. That's it. They thought that was a flex.
And look, I condemn drug trafficking.
I do.
I think it's bad. I condemn the cartels. I think they're bad.
Yep.
But trafficking drugs is a crime punishable under U.S. law. You go in front of a court, we try to prove the charges against you, and then you will go to jail for it. We don't just kill people.
And most importantly, the punishment for being convicted of trafficking drugs is like jail.
Yeah, it's jail time.
It's going to prison.
It's not capital punishment.
The slammer.
Yeah, exactly. And I do want to note that like using military force in this way won't do anything, first of all, about the demand for drugs in the United States.
Yep.
Because you got to remember, right, like the drug traffickers, obviously bad, I condemn. But they're doing it because they're meeting a demand inside of the country. It's the same thing that we talk about with fentanyl. Fentanyl is trafficked by American citizens for American citizens because there's a demand for the drug within the country. And the statistics aren't the same when it comes to cocaine smuggling, but it's the same type of dynamic that we see playing out here. And also, if we're just bombing boats, all it's going to do is encourage sneakier ways of smuggling.
Exactly. People are just going to get craftier.
Yeah.
It's like, especially when it comes to like drugs, that's been one of the most robust industries in the world.
And I don't understand why we bombed the boat when it's like we could just send our own boats out and get them or arrest them when they hit land.
We have the Coast Guard for this. Like, it's literally the Coast Guard's job to go out and pull up next to these boats and be like, stop.
Yeah.
And then get the people, arrest them off the boats, and then you get like a cool video you see on TikTok everyone. I miss when I used to see cool videos on TikTok of like a big boat pulling up to a small boat and being like, you're fucked, buddy.
Yeah, we're the pirates of the sea.
We're the pirates. Like, we got like, get your drugs off of here. That used to be like, okay, that's what the Coast Guard does. That's like an actual like good use of things like that. You're not supposed to just fucking shoot and kill them.
And Marco Rubio was asked about that, like, why not just send the Coast Guard? And he said that hadn't been effective. What is more effective about just blowing up the boat?
No, literally.
Like, it still stops them?
Conservatives and like fascists and people like this throughout history have always touted just like immense violence as the greatest deterrent for anybody to do anything. And historically, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Never
it doesn't.
fucking works, dude. You need to address way deeper things than just telling people if you do something, I'll kill them. Kids don't listen when you just beat the shit out of them.
Mm-hmm. It just makes them hate you.
It just makes them hate you and lash out more further in the future.
Yeah, oh my God, I can't believe we forgot to cover this, but like we killed a bunch of like Houthi leadership last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was just like a bombing out of nowhere. We just murdered members of the government in Yemen. And there were video of kids like swearing vengeance upon the United States. And I'm like, well, we just created a whole new class of people that hates us. And I can't even blame them.
Oh, there's Houthi too.
Yeah, like we just did that. And like we knowingly did that. We know how these dynamics work out. We've been fucking up in the Middle East forever. We've been fucking up in Latin America forever. And we're going to keep doing it.
Like, corporal punishment never works. Capital punishment doesn't work. The death penalty, the reason why states got rid of the death penalty in like states that did actually get rid of the death penalty is because it's not a deterrent for crime.
Yeah.
Nobody goes and does a crime and thinks, oh, I'm not going to do this because the state's going to kill me after this. That's not what motivates people to do crime. That's not what motivates people to do the traffickings like this.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if you're doing this, you think you're going to get away with it.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to get into the deeper allegations, the substance of the issue, as we so often do on this podcast, because the claim is that the Venezuelan government works with Tren de Aragua specifically to traffic cocaine and other drugs into the United States. But Trump's own intelligence community does not agree with him on this claim. And This is all from Al Jazeera, quote, although Maduro is permissive of cartels and gangs in Venezuela, a classified assessment by the National Intelligence Council released in April repeatedly stated that there was no evidence of coordination between Tren de Aragua and any senior leaders in the Maduro administration. There's no evidence that TDA has like infiltrated the Venezuelan government at all.
This was the pretext, by the way, for what kicked off like the mass deportation effort and third-party deportations, sending a bunch of people to the torture camp in El Salvador. This is what got Trump to start doing that. This is what they used.
Yeah, yeah. Moreover, quote, the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, released an annual cocaine report in 2024, which identified Colombia as the primary source of cocaine seized by the United States. About 84% of the cocaine seized in the U.S. was found to have originated from Colombian cocoa. The report does not mention Venezuela.
Nice, man.
And lastly, from the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, quote, a majority of the coca bush from which cocaine is derived was cultivated in Colombia, followed by Peru and Bolivia. The report also shows that most of the main routes of cocaine trafficking in 23 and 24 into the U.S. passed through Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador rather than Venezuela. Venezuela just doesn't have anything to do with this.
What's our beef with Venezuela? What industry did they nationalize this time?
We initially got very mad at Venezuela for nationalizing oil, I believe.
That's what happened. Like,
many such cases.
Yeah. Didn't that happen a couple years ago? Or are we still mad at them for that?
Who was the previous one? Evo Morales, I think, in Venezuela was the guy who did that, and they were like, "Hey, you can't do that because Exxon."
Nice.
So, I mean, I don't know exactly what it is here, other than like its connection to like immigration and the mass deportation shit. Like they are just on a bend, labeling everything with having to do with Venezuela as TDA and terrorism and drug trafficking and shit.
Is it like a significant amount of Venezuelans that have like immigrated?
I don't know.
What the fuck is going on, man?
And none of this, of course, is meant to provide justification for military action against Colombia or any other country. But it's just to say that, like, targeting Venezuela does not make sense according to Trump's own analysis.
Nice. They're just racist.
Yeah. And lastly, on a statistical point, this is from the U.S. Sentencing Commission, which is a government agency. 62.2% of those arrested for cocaine smuggling were U.S. citizens, and 68.1% had little or no prior criminal history. So we could have just bombed people who have done nothing but smuggle drugs in their life.
Fucking, we could have just bombed people that were just out.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's so absurd that something like this would ever be accepted. I can't say this you can't just kill people, man.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just stop there. Like, that's the craziest part about this, is if the Trump administration is allowed to continually get away with just killing people that they don't
admitting
like
to it publicly in this case,
and flaunting it and saying that it's cool, eventually it will escalate in ways that I don't think any American citizen would be comfortable with.
Imperial boomerang, baby. It's all gonna end up coming back around. I mean, and that's the idea of the Imperial boomerang, right? Is like we test out what we can do overseas to see what those civilians will accept and see what our civilians are cool with, and then eventually that kind of violence comes back because they've tested it out thoroughly. And that's gonna happen here. I mean, not to mention all the shit like with Israel and Palantir and AI and surveillance over in Gaza right now, but this is the type of shit that they will do to American citizens if they can get away with it. I mean, they've already been deporting members of quote-unquote TDA to the torture prison.
Exactly. And it's like, if they can get away with just fucking blowing up boats in the Caribbean, what stops them from being able to, I don't know, blow up cars on I-75 that they say have immigrants in them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, that sounds fucking absurd. But what's already happened is absurd. Like, it's fucked up.
It's mighty fucked up. So that's Venezuela. That's maybe, I don't know, war in Latin America, I fucking guess. I don't know.
Pro-peace president.
I don't know. Yeah. The pro-peace ticket. I don't know what Venezuela specifically did to deserve all of our ire so far, but apparently this is what we're doing. And when it comes to foreign policy, I mean, there's literally nothing anybody can do.
Yeah.
Like, they're just gonna get away with this kind of shit. So that sucks.
Yeah, bro just kind of has control over that. It's not even like Congress can be like, stop.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I think these strikes were illegal.
I think so too, because didn't they happen in like international waters?
There was no approval from Congress, but again, law doesn't matter.
No. And especially when it comes to the military.
Yeah, exactly.
We've done a lot of illegal things that Congress hasn't approved. Many such cases, actually.
Yeah. So that's Venezuela. And now we got a couple of extras to end off. First of all, this was going to be like a main segment, but we just did not have the time this week.
Yeah.
There's a giant nurses strike that's happening in our old stomping grounds.
That's right.
Grand Lake, Michigan, up around the Flint area, if you're unaware.
750 nurses from Henry Ford Genesis are on strike now.
Striking for the most reasonable things like, hey, we have too many patients per nurse.
Yeah.
That shit kills people.
That shit does kill people. You can't do that. We have too many patients per nurse and we're not getting paid enough.
Yeah.
And they should get everything they want.
They should get everything they want. And it was good to see my goat, Abdul, out there.
Yes.
With the nurses striking in Grand Blanc. And yeah. I mean, I was going to dive into like what their demands were, what the responses from the hospitals and shit were, but like there just wasn't time. Maybe we'll cover that next week.
So fucking much going on,
yeah,
dude.
A lot going on. But like, shout out to them, solidarity. I hope you bleed them dry.
And big shout out to Abdul for being out there once again. Yeah, Abdul was out there. We got 3 people running for Senate. One of them was out there. Abdul the GOAT.
Bro is like, he's everywhere.
No, he's constantly traveling all around the fucking state doing things too, and good things and saying good things.
I think bro might live in a car.
Probably.
Like, I don't know if he drives himself around or somebody else does, but I think bro is like probably spends 16 hours of each of his days on the road.
And shout out bro's campaign staff.
Yeah. Shout out bro's
campaign staff for just dealing with all that too.
They are out there.
It's fucked up, dude. But this one last bit of information we want to leave you guys with is just a sneak peek into something that I feel like warrants a full section, but next week, because once again, this was so packed up. And that is the collusion between the Trump administration and everyone that isn't Zoran Mamdani in the New York City primary, or the New York City mayoral race.
Yes.
Because the New York Times reported this week that Trump aides are working with Eric Adams to get him a job in order for him to drop out of the race so more people can rally behind Andrew Cuomo.
Everybody from center left to far right is trying to make Zoran Mamdani lose.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you need to support Zoran Mamdani.
With like everything you got, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Telling Democrat Eric Adams that he needs to drop out to get a job in the Trump administration so that Andrew Cuomo, Democrat, supposedly, can become the mayor instead of Zoran.
Yeah. Trump is literally trying to clear the field so that Zoran can't win. Like, he's trying to make it easier for Cuomo to beat Zoran.
Trump is trying to consolidate support around Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah.
Sex pests, birds of a feather, man.
Literally.
These guys are like glue sticking together.
I don't know how you can look at that and think like, oh, well, I still think I might vote for Cuomo, or I might still support Cuomo.
Especially when Cuomo's like, I'm the one that can stand up to Trump.
Yeah.
Because you're working with him, dog.
Like, Zoran, I can't stress this enough. Zoran wants like free bus.
Yep.
Like that's dude's platform is free bus, rent freeze.
Yep.
Like what does he have on offer that is so scary to the Democratic Party? Fucking government-owned grocery store, 4 of them throughout the entire city of New York. I just like it's insane the way they're responding to this guy, and I feel like most of it is tied up in the fact that he doesn't fuck with the donors and he doesn't fuck with Israel.
Yeah.
Like those are the 2 explaining factors here, and the fact that every single person from center left to the fucking fascists in government, all of them aligning behind Cuomo should tell you everything you need to know about this race.
One grassroots campaign just destroyed politics. Like it just broke Democrats, man. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's absurd. And once again, this just goes back to the idea that none of them stand for anything and they're entirely feckless. And that's why people like Zoran and Abdul need to win their elections. They need to be in positions of power because these are people who can actually go out there and tell it like it is.
And I need to remind you that Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, 2 representatives of the state of New York and New York City, have not endorsed Zoran Mamdani.
Yes.
At a time when support is being consolidated from Trump behind Andrew Cuomo, the main opposition at this point, and they still have not endorsed the Democratic nominee. Like, it's fucking insane. It is crazy.
Vote blue no matter who. Vote blue no matter who.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's giving Eric Adams a job in the government. And also they're speculating giving him housing and urban development, which feels racially coded, right?
Yeah.
Like that feels targeted.
Yeah.
It is also funny to give him that job when he raised the rent. Like he's unqualified
He's bad
for it.
at it.
It feels racist, and it's bad because they're trying to get Zoran to lose.
It's fucked up, man. I can't believe one young man absolutely broke the Democratic Party, got Democrats to collude with Trump.
One striking young man with nice suit said free
suit.
bus, no more rent.
But most importantly, good video.
Good video.
That's
Well,
the most
that's the
important
reason.
part of his entire It's good video.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the fact that he inspired people to knock on 1 million doors before the primary.
Yep.
It's a good video.
It raised so much money. It's
Yeah.
it's the fact that he got a guy that can hold a camera good and make a couple nice edits. They should get that guy on the Epstein video.
Yeah, offer Zoran's editor fucking $1 billion.
$1 billion to cover up the Epstein video, man.
Man, we need you to make this look good, please. Oh man, I think that wraps up our show for today. So much shit to talk about, man.
Yeah, next week we'll dive deeper into Eric Adams if there's more story to like talk about, and I do really want to do a roundup on the CDC, man, because there's some shit going on, and RFK Jr. wants to fucking kill you, man.
Yes, yeah, it's a death cult.
It's a death cult. That guy is insane. I don't know if I said this already on the show, but I feel like when people look back in history, it's going to be like, of this era, Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, and RFK Jr. are like the guys that did the most harm.
Yeah. And I think like with a lot of the health conspiracism stuff, like a lot of the quote unquote Maha stuff, a lot of it can be explained by the fact that like a lot of companies are just poisoning us in various different ways. And our refusal to regulate that is connected to how much money they have over our political system. But to some extent, it's like, I can't explain why RFK wants to kill us all. Like, at some point, my class and material analysis cannot explain why RFK wants us to die.
Exactly. Like you take an issue that has merits.
Yeah.
The idea that food may be kind of bad sometimes.
And the skepticism and conspiracism that forms off of those companies doing nothing to protect us from like the food and slop they're feeding us, that is like, I understand why people feel so conspiracy brained about it. But to get to a point where you're like gonna kill all of us, I don't know how we get this far.
Like, I want to say this is what happens when needs go unaddressed. But I know regular people that are like, food sucks, and they don't want to, I don't know, kill the vaccine schedule and bring back communicable diseases. They don't go on their website and sell unvaxxed and unafraid baby onesies. Like, this is really a special kind of brain broken, man.
Yeah.
Because it's not a regular amount of skepticism. It's not a healthy skepticism. It's not even a skepticism that's gone a little too far. This is like the end. RFK Jr. is the death of empiricism encompassed, personified.
The Enlightenment's over.
Like the
we're going
brain
backwards.
worm that was in his brain probably was the thing that killed empiricism, and now it's still piloting him.
And I can't believe this dude was an environmental lawyer.
Oh my
like
God,
that was his profession before the brainworm destroyed him.
Bro's a titan, but like for the brainworm, you know, the brainworm's just moved down to his neck and it's controlling his brain stem.
Yeah, like I mean, the legacy of the Trump administration, one of the worst things will have been whatever the fuck RFK gets away with doing.
I'm trying to think of the other secretaries, right?
Yeah,
and it's like Kristi Noem, cosplay Kristi. What is she doing? Yeah, obviously what she's doing is bad,
but she's just taking marching orders from Trump.
Exactly, she's not directing ICE to do these things. She's just doing photo photo shoots at the site of one of the most evil things that the administration is doing. Condemnable in itself, but she's not a mover and shaker.
Yeah.
And Howard Nutlick, what's he doing? Running cover for him on tariffs. Scott Bessent, what's he doing? Running cover for him on tariffs.
But those are all connected to things that like Trump wanted to do.
Yeah.
None of this would be happening with like the CDC and vaccines and food and stuff without RFK's specific influence.
Like, I feel like he's the one secretary that has like the most power and the most potential to do great harm. And he is doing that great harm the best that he can.
Yeah, I mean, fucking S tier political move from Trump, sort of incorporating him into the movement. It seems like when he finds like conspiracy minded people or people who are just like dumb but sort of in the way, he just gives them a job.
Yeah.
Like, he gives RFK a job, wants to give Eric Adams a job. When there are people that like represent a constituency of people that he wants, he's just like, I'll give him a job. And it's smart. It seems like it's working.
It's working, man. If only we could give people jobs.
I know. I can't even fucking support myself.
But
maybe now I can with the podcaster tax write-off.
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about the fucking podcast. Dude, the podcaster deduction is real.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about the big beautiful bill and how there's like one thing about like tax write-off for podcast equipment. We're like, haha, that's funny and stupid. In No Tax on Tips, they finally published the thing that like all the professions that qualify for no tax on tips, and they specifically called out digital content creators and podcasters.
Yeah.
Brother,
We're up 1 million, dude.
we're up 1 million.
Critical support.
And like, I'll take that, but that is not worth millions of people getting kicked off their health care.
No,
man.
of course not.
The like $2,000 I'm going to save on my tax return in February is not worth millions of people getting kicked off their health care.
Yeah.
And it just speaks to how unserious this administration is. What do you mean podcasters are a group of people that traditionally get tips?
It is again like it's an S tier example of pork though.
Yeah.
Like he is giving back to a class of people that helped him get elected. And like I'm not gonna say I support it because like you said, it's not worth the millions of people that are gonna die over the next 10 years because of the Medicaid cuts. But it's like, damn, dude, he did it.
But like, I'm not gonna performatively not take it either though. You know what I'm saying? Because like, it's there. The tax code is there to be used.
Yeah, our tax man would be like, hey, just dude, just take it.
Exactly. Like I advocate for the tax code to be changed so that nobody can take advantage of it to like miss taxes. I don't advocate for like not using what's right there in front of you.
It's so true. I exist in a system.
Exactly. And if I were to pay more taxes to the government just because if I were to just donate the money that I save to the Treasury, they're just going to give that to some fucking ICE agent.
Exactly, yeah.
Like at this point, it's like evil to pay taxes.
Yeah, the few $1,000s that I save with this no tax on fucking Patreon subscriptions, that's just going to go to wiping out the debt of some ICE agent that doesn't deserve it.
And that's fucked up.
That's the one group of people that should be in more debt and should feel more economic strangulation as fucking ICE agents.
What a fucking fake administration.
Yeah, no,
man.
that shit's crazy.
That shit's fake. That shit's not real. But what is real is the support that we receive from our beautiful, wonderful patrons every single month.
Yep.
And we got to give a special shout out to those people, starting with, as always, Caden Kraut, Chris the Postman, Christy Beck, Mike Chaplinsky, Clayton LaFed, Mark Yeager, Caleb Joy, Rich Taro, Tari, Vergalaki, Max Vesquez, Jacob Rogers, Colton Mooberry, Finxer Punk, Jim Esbers, fucking A, Bagel Burrito.
It's a tough reading day.
It's a tough reading day for me, guys. I'm a little behind. Bagel Burrito, Cincy Alex, Joe Sensrum, Adrian Sandoval, Chloe Sam 601, Colleen Cutts, Jennifer DeVoe, Croft Fishin, Benneth Bennington III, Alexia Benanti, Big Booty Beattown, Sam Maloney, Ted Cruz's Boy Toy, Dictator Dace, Luke O'Shea, Cucker Tarleson, Danielle Jackson, The Word of Microsoft, Jennifer Science, Aaron and his Gundam Gundams, Darth Father, Tailored for Content, Corey Chambers, Retro Mondo, Veronica, aka V, Raxon, Ash Smith, The Grottler, Murder in a Trench Coat, Casey Lynn Kelly, AK Gon, Iguana Don, Zach Lantian, Austin Greif, Marcus Corbett, Caleb Roper, Taylor Rensock, Cammy, Tylen Freeman, Isaac Hodges, Madeline C, Anna Valinic, KCC, Say Us to West, August Particular Pickman, Sir Capilot, Jeff Sines, Brendan's Egg, Froggy Gumjock, Jackie Boy, Shameless, Coherent Babbles, MJ Sark, Michaela Muncie, The Wallace 3000,
Chris T, Kashan Lala, Amanda R, Tyler J, Particulon Memfrez, Rhonda Stiletto, Midwest Marxist, Joe the Mailman, Gary from West Michigan, Shawnee GG, Juniper Nut, Jupiter, Stacked Crabs, I Crowley, Urban Peach, Lord of Forlorn, Holt Forsyth, Booty Snakes, Dew Fairy, Chelceratops, Austin Lima, Lane Waltz, Azim Fit Hussein, Gorgeous Girl Mukes, Brooklyn G, Noverk the Dastardly, Goldthorn, Addie Book, Merlin, Cryobongi, Sergeant Pookie, Hoodie, Kim Kitsuragi, Rose Grimm, Kristen, Jamie the Young Extremist, Jack the Heathen, Archer W, Evan Mingo, AJ Torres, Elo Nico, Jake Hall, Seth Schmidt, Noah Sahas, Madra What, Ultra the Dragon, Mercy Boku, Dick Cheney and 6-inch Heels, Luke Wechter, Henry Kraggles, Tristan Ringsmith, Yaya, Asura the Atheist, Aiden Reese, Deep State Agent, Puddle Pirate, Southern Lefty, Lark61, KC, Cannon Man, Troy H, Rourke Muffalo, Nahan San Diego, Nut Mode, Nick from New Haven, Connor Nix, Sound Logic, Sleven, I Have Never Made a Woman Orgasm, John from Houston, Jordino, and My Mom. Thank you all so much for supporting the show on Patreon. Couldn't do it without you. We
wouldn't be here sitting here today talking about fucking the Epstein files without you.
So true. And I think we forgot to mention that Gage was a guest on Point of Disorder.
Oh,
did we mention that at the beginning? I can't remember.
Maybe
it was so long ago.
Maybe we did. Maybe we didn't. You know how these episodes run, guys. It's been a day. Yeah. There's been too much news. Frankly, I opened up the show note document today expecting to talk about the CDC because I didn't think much was going to go on, and so much did.
Yeah. So we'll have his guest appearance linked in the description. You can check it out if you want. We posted about it on socials already.
And
but,
something surprising in store.
Who knows?
Maybe something else cooking.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Have a great week.